Guys, I think I get it now. Spy Has a Gun, Spy Psychology by Jonto. This looks clean. I like this. Okay. Smooth intro. I love it. I dig it. Good stuff. I thought it was a good intro. I liked it.
Hey, look,
liked it a
buddy.
lot.
I'm a spy, and I solve logical problems.
Yeah.
You are dead.
Done. As a spy, you have it. Yes, the knife will get most of your kills, but the knife has a limited amount of range. And this is where this thing comes in. And these things come in later.
Right.
The gun is so underutilized that the phrase, spy as a gun, has become my running joke, and a bit of a motto for the spies who watch this series. You think about it, you tell it to others, you reply with it on every spy-related thing, recite it every night before bed, and vandalize local property with it.
I've definitely had people come out to chat, literally reminding me that Spy has a gun. 100%.
Please don't do that last one. But with all this talk about how Spy has a gun, finally I am making the long-requested video on specifically that. Here is how the gun works.
I'm ready for this, especially the variants. Good track, I like it.
The revolver is a hit-scan weapon. The moment you fire, the game instantly draws a line straight down your crosshair, and if it collides with another player, it counts as a hit.
Okay.
But if you fire another shot within 1.25 seconds, it will randomly deviate from your crosshair.
Right.
And this has more of an impact at longer distances. It has a base damage of 40, its maximum damage at close range is 60, its minimum damage at long range is 21, and critical hits always deal 120 damage regardless of range.
Okay.
And that's really it.
Now I see why the ambassador, especially with that buff to that first shot, if it's a crit, is wild.
The stock revolver is a very simple weapon to understand on a mechanical level. But let's throw in a few tips for actually using it. 1. Space out your shots, especially at longer ranges. Waiting between firing can reduce or negate the random spread that occurs on subsequent shots. 2. Practice. Aiming with it can be harder than you think, so practice it with things like TR Walkway or just go out of your way to use it in pubs.
Yeah.
3. Do not underestimate its power. If your shots connect, it does respectable damage.
Watch, as I am just below medium range. It takes 1, 2, 3 shots to kill the light plus.
Was not expecting
Also
this.
observe, as you can see the health of enemy players, unlike the other classes.
But what about me?
Shut up!
But the point is, stock is a very consistent revolver. But back to my running joke. I have it as such to drill that phrase into people's heads. But I think it's worth explaining the point of why. So, let's explain the joke. And as they say, dissect the
Hello, it is I, the Frog. I am
I was not expecting Martin Pants to show up. Okay. Things I was not expecting. Did I miss a Martin Pants Team Fortress 2 video?
currently being gruesomely dissected and being compelled by the voices to explain the funny.
The boat?
The idea that Spy has a gun doesn't mean you should constantly use it on innocent bystanders at all times.
Right.
Even if you really, really want to. Instead, keep it in your pocket and use it at a deviously opportune moment. Use the gun against guys running towards you. Participate in an active fight. Fire upon Clifford, who is standing up. Fire or engage guys running away from you. Officer, it was self-defense. No, do not arrest me. Do you know who I am? I will defend myself against you. Just because you have the Second Amendment doesn't mean you should exercise it at every possible moment.
Sure.
Except neither of us live in America.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You done?
I didn't know I needed this bit. This bit is flawless. This is a 10. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So
Good edit.
let's start with the first question.
That was solid edit.
When? you have a gun. But unless you're going out of your way to drop all stealth and play Gun Spy, most of your kills are still going to be a result of the knife.
Sure.
If someone doesn't know you are there and is facing away from you, the knife will work just fine.
Yeah.
The gun is instead there for the scenarios where the knife doesn't work. Most often, when people already know you are there, you could try and recreate those epic frag montages you've seen, or you can just shoot them.
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to see Spy as a free kill,
Yeah, makes sense.
and they're often caught off guard when the Spy actually shoots them.
Uh-huh.
You can get into the enemy's head and see the exact moment at which they start to realize that you can hit your shots. That, or they continue running at you, and die really awkwardly.
I think that it's really interesting because you are playing, not only is playing Spy the mental game, like you're having to do mental gymnastics, not only for yourself, but your opponent as well. But especially because players are like, yes, the knife, the one shot, that is going to be the one, especially with the kind of prominence of things like trick stabs, bat stabs, stair stabs, etc. Right? So it really is interesting that despite knowing Spy literally has a revolver in his kit, like people will still just rush you. And I think against bad Spies it absolutely works, right? Like I'm not at a point where I can aim correctly where it's really gonna matter, right? Like that's just gonna be a free point. That's just I'm gonna get ran out all day. But for better Spies, yeah, it's a last defense option. I think that's very thematic with its kit. I think that the recoil variants, especially because of, I guess like the variance, right, where your shots land if you're firing quick succession, I think that honestly makes a lot of sense. Because when you think about it, right, a revolver is only going to have, 6 rounds in the cylinder? Some have 5, depending on the caliber, right? Variance and not the point. But, like, yeah, like it balances itself out because you have so few rounds, and the rounds are really powerful, and you're not supposed to be, mashing that trigger like you would, say, something like a magazine-fed semi-auto pistol, right? I think it's really interesting. Like, you're not using this the same way you would, say, the Pretty Boy pistol or the Winger, right?
At moments like this, where the enemy Spy underestimates the power of the revolver, runs at you trying to trick stab, and doesn't know what to do when you just pull out your gun and start shooting them.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
The basic rule is, if knife don't work, gun.
Right, yeah, makes sense.
If gun don't work, run.
Yeah, makes sense. I actually really like this. It's
Some other
simple.
good scenarios for your gun are low health players outside of your knife's range, some low health player retreating to a health pack, getting bored and becoming a DPS class, or using your ability to see enemy health is also really helpful in picking fights.
Right.
You can often tell which fights you'll have an advantage in, or, as mentioned before, finish off the poor guy running through a health pack by spontaneously becoming the other pick class. In fact, the revolver is far more effective at range than shotguns, and especially if you can dodge projectiles. Not to mention the, yeah.
The flame stream only has a limited range unless you're using something like what the dragon one, the one where it fires a quote unquote flame rocket, right? Like unless you're using something like that, and even then, like you're able to kind of react to that organically. Like this really feels like Spy is a mid fighter who goes in close.
Also note that the knife from the front does 40 damage, so if your opponent is just below that threshold and really close to you, you can just finish them off British style. It's also good against Razorback snipers, as they tend to turn towards you after the second shot.
Wild.
Anyway, we've talked about stock, but what about the other 4? There are 3 categories I like to split them up into: consistently good, kinda situational, and cursed.
Yeah. Okay.
Stock fits into the consistently good category. But then, there's the other one that shares that status.
Yeah, I've had people clarify how this is pronounced, or at least what the nearest thing in English would be. French is not my strong suit.
Since this gun's name is in, Spanish, nobody but me knows it's pronounced as. This gun has the stats of plus 40% cloak duration, plus 15% cloak on hit, but a 20% damage penalty. Now, the revolver has the lowest base damage of any of the revolvers.
Sure.
How could it be consistently good? Well, That's because of the plus 40% cloak duration you get just by equipping it.
Yeah.
That is big.
I mean, that's huge, right? So we've talked in a couple of the past videos about like passive effects versus active effects, and how active effects, if they have generally mundane activation requirements like get a kill, versus, you know, something that's a little harder, a little more situational, like get a headshot, right? If you get a 20% buff, let's just say static 20% movement buff on kill versus a 20% on headshot, sure, something like, you know, sniper or even spy might benefit from it, but like reasonably the baseline is a lot lower and more consistent if it's on kill versus on headshot. So the fact that that's just a built-in 40% to cloak duration is wild.
10 seconds of cloak? Pitiful. How about 14 seconds? Has your cloak run out and you need to escape? Guess what? Plus 15% cloak on hit. Cloak and dagger is movement sensitive. Well, now it's a bit less sensitive and less likely to go on an argument on twitter.com.
Not Twitter.
Having the increased cloak allows you to get further with your cloak, worry less about managing it, and be more patient with your decloaks. But be wary. If you use it too much, you may develop a case of cloak management disorder.
Oh.
A condition that is caused by reliance on the extra cloak that makes you struggle to use any revolver besides the...
Oh, I totally get that. That actually makes a lot of sense. You are effectively, while you're specializing, you are effectively handicapping yourself, because now you're used to that 14 seconds, and that 14 seconds is your baseline. It's the same concept of why I refuse to use the Dead Ringer, because sure, it's good, but I also hear that it will handicap my learning curve as spy, and thus on principle I don't use it. I want to be able to master something, to be able to come into organic mastery before I start to specialize in certain things. Like, and don't get me wrong, like as Pyre, I'll go like backburner and stuff, right? I'll go flog and MVM, right? Like, I'm not opposed to playing other things in other classes, but there's certain things that I avoid strictly because, if nothing else, like it can be very detrimental to the learning process and your skill level.
Thankfully, it is not terminal and can be treated with some stock revolver therapy. Though it's not just a tool for newer spies, as it's also good if you're trying to adopt a more patient playstyle.
Right, so
you can wait with your cloak for longer and observe the enemy more. It's an especially good combo with the cloak and dagger.
Yeah.
You can negate the reduced cloak of the Your Eternal Reward. Its cloak on hit is the only thing that can restore the cloak of the Dead Ringer. But you may be thinking, okay, so it's just good for its passive buff, but due to the damage penalty, it isn't useful in combat, right?
This is the one that actually makes me curious about this. I wonder if the damage penalty actually matters, because a lot of weapons in TF2, while they're kind of side grades, right? I've noticed a lot will give you a damage penalty, and I'm curious if it really makes a difference or not.
The cog isn't moving yet.
Still a two-shot.
Nope.
Okay, fair enough.
Even with the you should still shoot it at people in the same scenarios as you'd use stock. It has the lowest base damage of all the revolvers, but it's still consistently good.
Yeah.
Now, we go to the kind of situational guns.
I feel you're still meeting certain thresholds, right? If let's say your baseline is hypothetically 3 shots will be a guaranteed. Even if you have a 20% nerf, if you're still hitting 3 to guarantee the kill, even at the -20, sure, and there's going to be situations like maybe with like overheal or something, maybe heavies become a little bit weirder to deal with. Sure, yeah, but if you're still hitting relevant thresholds, right, like that's all that really matters. If a 3-shot is still a 3-shot, the 20% is negligible, and someone would have to actually math it out there. And I read as many comments as I can. This has been a very interesting series to not only learn from Jonto, but also to learn from a lot of people in the comment section as well. It's been really fascinating to go through this series. Yeah, but even then, you also have guaranteed 40 damage. If you 1-2, they're at like 38 health. You can just walk at them and stab them in the face for the guaranteed 40. Or you can say go cloak, go into the back line, especially with a heavy, right? If you can, maybe take out his medic with a big earner and then big earner to the heavy and then take out the heavy, right? Like there's a lot of moving. There's a lot of movement tech with spy, not in the same way as like Trollger, like rocket jumping or like detonator jumping with pyro, right? Or even pyro jetpack, like not that kind of movement tech, but Spy is very much visually looking at a game of chess when playing Spy. This one is really good.
This gun has the single upside of getting critical hits on headshots, making it the only non-sniper rifle weapon that can headshot. And its downsides are boom, boom, bap. Then that's it. Wait, no, Jungle Inferno, no, wait, stop. So the idea of this gun is that it rewards skilled aim with crit damage.
Right.
But resulting in less DPS if you can't hit headshots, or just can't hit. However, there is another thing that the game doesn't tell you, because headshots only count when there is no bullet spread, meaning you need to space out your shots.
Right.
However,
Okay.
back in 2017,
Love seeing the Vidivine saw spin.
when Jungle Inferno released, they made the Ambassador the only weapon that has its critical hits affected by range.
Huh.
Now, sure, Spy isn't supposed to be sniper, so that's not entirely unfair, right? Well, sure, I don't disagree with that, but they went a bit overkill. If it weren't for this nerf, this gun would still be in the consistently good category.
Right.
But be warned! Because using this gun makes you go for headshots, which is only like 10% of the hitbox, I think, because I can't be bothered doing the math instead of just eyeballed it, you may
Yeah.
actually miss more shots entirely than if you just went with the stock revolver. Because
Yeah. That
these
makes
days,
sense.
this thing only really shines at close-ish range, where it can clutch 1v1s, and also deal with Razorback snipers.
So that was Jungle Inferno. This was a year ago, so this is pretty recently as well. I'm reaching out to someone I play TF2 with literally Discord right now, just confirming. Yeah, it is crit damage fall off. So yeah, this goes into the live game right now, which is really interesting to consider. But I mean, if you're playing that mid range into short range, you're not really running into those issues, which once again does really fall into the philosophy of the just stock revolver being the most consistent option.
As a single headshot, followed up by a quick body shot, can kill them quicker than
Okay.
most of them can react.
So the threshold's not bad though.
That,
It's still
or they
2.
have an incredibly bad case of tunnel vision. Anyway, the Ambassador is good at close range if you can aim headshots. Otherwise, literally any other revolver is better.
I'm awful at headshots. I'm awful at crits, and that's why I've been using stock.
The Enforcer. The gun of time.
Okay.
It has the upsides of plus 20% damage while disguised, and it pierces all damage resistances. The downsides are 20% firing speed penalty, and no random crits. The
I feel like the firing speed could be the issue here. The no random crits, sure. I would argue that's a more consistent option, but I feel like this ends up... It tries to lead itself, especially with the 20% damage while disguised, right? But you have to be disguised. So if your disguise gets popped, if a pyro is doing a spy check, right, you immediately lose that buff. You're 20% slower with no random crits. I feel like it could be inconsistent. I'm not saying that this is a bad revolver by any means, but I feel it does lead to consistency issues.
latter is barely a downside. Since the damage bonus only applies while disguised, it effectively only applies to your first shot.
Right.
So, it's capable of two-shotting Razorback snipers at point blank.
Sure.
And if you go for the memes and team up with a crits medic, crits can one-shot light classes.
Interesting.
Oh, wait.
Disgusting.
Holy shit. No, sentry gun.
But when this gun is put up against most types of damage resistance, it simply says, "Who asked?" and like an absolute Giga Chad, proceeds to completely bypass them.
Really?
The resistances it bypasses are Vaccinated Bullet Resistance, Vaccinated Uber Bullet Resistance, Spy Invisibility, Italian's Backup Rage, Raspy Spin Up, Natasha Low Health, Fists of Steel, Wrangler Shield, and Dead Ringer.
Okay, the piercing damage resistance is the big one then. I actually misread that. This really leads the Enforcer into being a really interesting revolver. I feel if your team... So this is a tool that I view. If your team is playing really tanky, or the enemy team's playing really tanky, and you know that they're running mitts, right? They're trying to turtle up. I really feel like the Enforcer is a good way to start cracking some boards. That's actually really interesting. And I like videos like this because I had completely written it off, if I'm being completely honest. But this recontextualizes the Enforcer in its entirety.
Do note that this only applies to damage resistances, not immunities. So damage and crit immunities are not bypassed.
Amazing.
Also, a couple of resistances are bugged and aren't bypassed. Because, of course they are.
Yeah.
It's all spaghetti. These are all manpower power-ups and the hidden separate armor mechanic on sentries. With the Vaccinator, Spy now counters it harder than he already did.
That actually makes a lot of sense, especially because Vaccinator sees a lot of play. A good Vaccinator can carry games. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Since it lacks melee resistance. The Wrangler shield, which is arguably overpowered, is also completely shut down by the Enforcer. Sentries are very quirky and don't care about damage fall off on taking damage.
Right.
You can shoot them from far away or up close, and they will still take the same amount of damage. Abusing this with the Enforcer will probably annoy the local engineer so much he'll die of cardiac arrest. Also, the Dead Ringer just gets completely screwed by this weapon, as all the damage resistances it's supposed to give are completely nullified. It can even one-shot them at point blank if they're using the cooldown.
Okay.
Fists of Steel are also typically used for escapes or tanking damage. And yet again, the Enforcer completely screws this up. But the overall problem with this upside is that TF2 isn't some roguelike with a huge amount of resistances.
No.
So being able to bypass them only really comes into play in a few scenarios.
No, 100%. But that's the thing, is that like that is the League of Legends, right? If you see the entire enemy team is just playing KDA.comp, right? Like they're playing Ahri, Akali, Kai'Sa, right? You're going to know exactly what hero to counter that. If your opponent's playing a Yasuo in jungle, you're going to be like, well, I don't like that Yasuo in jungle. I'm going to do my spooky fiddlesticks and get him from range with the funny crows, right? I think he actually got reworked. I don't remember. I don't play League. Point being, right? I mean, apply it to any game, right? Where you go into a situation and you know what the enemy team is playing, or even in PvE games like Destiny 2, right? You're going into a raid and you're like, well, okay, I'm not necessarily going to use Apex Predator, even bait and switch in Oryx and Kingsfall, right? Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. Kata bait and switch, Darcy, Whisper of the Worm. Well, you really want Darcy, right? But like point being, right? Like you have to tailor it to the encounter. So how that relates to this, if your enemy team is effectively playing heavy in mitts, force them off the mitts, use the Enforcer. Like you're doing the swap to play into and against what the enemy team is trying to do.
But the downsides are also somewhat negligible. It just sort of exists. I get that this is definitely an opinion, and some people really like this gun. And you know what? More power to you.
Sure.
It's fun for me sometimes. But then there is the cursed one.
Uh-huh. I'm kind of mixed. I'll have to play with the Enforcer. I hear this is bad.
This is the Diamondback. It rewards you with a guaranteed critical hit for every backstab and building sapped. That has the potential to be stupidly powerful, as it just rewards you for doing your job as spy.
What is it? What was gives one guarantee for each building destroyed? Ah, this is really situational though, because your opponent has to be playing engineers, right?
So, what are the downsides to balance this out? What?
Okay. Hi, Sephiroth. Okay. I like the edit there. I thought that was good.
I'm going to save this gun for a different video. It is cursed. Just don't use it.
Too late. I'm already gonna go find my
The gun
my Australian. No, it's not
good.
the strange.
Some are more consistent than others, but at the end of the day, it's an option you have. Do not neglect it, because you'll be surprised at how powerful of a weapon it is. Never forget, Spy has a gun.
What a good outro. I'm reminded of Ahoy.
everyone. This video took about 2 months to make if you couldn't tell, so I'd really appreciate it if you can help boost this video in the algorithm by engaging with it. Please, or even help me out directly with channel memberships, which gives you some awesome perks. Because, I'll be blunt, if I'm going to continue making videos like this, I need the support, and like I said, I really appreciate it. Oh yeah, and one last thing. If even one of you makes the unfunny ha 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 Spy doesn't have a gun joke, I am going to detonate the sticky bombs that I've laid on this Hoovie.
You wouldn't. You monster. You wouldn't do that to the Hoovie.
I'll do it.
No, you won't. What a great video. I definitely wore the Spy doesn't have a gun meme into the ground, and I do apologize for that. I had reacted to like the half of this series in like one go, so that's kind of like the explanation as to why there was a lot of consistent isms throughout that. But I'm enjoying a lot of TF2. I've definitely been having a lot of fun with it, and I'm definitely going to have an entire I'll have an entire VOD segment I'll upload to the gaming channel of
Spy has a gun, I have a gun. Do not enter my sightline.
You know what? I'll take that chance. Definitely gonna have an entire stream, an entire VOD segment where I play nothing but Spy, and it's gonna be interesting to really learn it and to really really engage with it. Oh, excuse me. In the background, there's a conversation being had about the Enforcer, where old Enforcer was okay, but it got nerfed due to competitive players complaining, even though it was banned in comp and Spy isn't even competitive. I feel is this like the Halo Infinite thing where they nerfed the Mangler because Mangler OP for the comp scene, but every casual player is just like, wait, just nerf it for comp then. Just have a different damage set. I don't know. Halo Infinite was a weird one, but thank you everyone for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun with these. I'm trying to get through as much TF2 content as I can because I'm genuinely enjoying it. I don't know a lot of you guys are enjoying it as well, so thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.